I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance, and I have a special guest on this occasion. He is Jason Kessler. He was the permit holder for the Unite the Right rally that took place in 2017. Mr. Kessler has been sued, as well as a number of other people. He is also on the offensive as well. But first of all, Mr. Kessler, what did take place in 2017 in Charlottesville?
Hi, thanks for having me on, Jared. The Unite the Right event was supposed to be about preserving a Robert E. Lee monument in Charlottesville that the left was trying to tear down, just like they've torn down so many monuments since. There was enormous pushback from the local far-left community, including Antifa and Black Lives Matter. The city buckled to that pressure, tried to rescind the permit. I was able to successfully fight in federal court to regain that permit. We thought that since we won the permit, the police were going to show up, protect the event, keep the opposing side separated so that we could actually speak. That turned out to be naive, as the police were ordered to stand down, and there was escalating violence as attendees were attacked on the way into the event. There were hordes of opposing counter-protesters, if you want to call them that, blocking the entrance. The police used this as a pretext to declare an unlawful assembly, pushing the crowd out into the hordes of Antifa, where they were beaten with canes, the improvised flamethrower. And then many hours after the event ended, there was this tragic incident with a car going into the crowd of people.
It seems to me changed the whole complexion of the event. Once you actually get a killing, then that's all that people seem to concentrate on. My recollection is that the police chief said, let them fight each other. And once they fought each other, then we can call it an unlawful assembly, and we can get these Unite the Right people out of our streets because we'll say it's an emergency and they can't hold their demonstration.
That's absolutely right. There were multiple credible witnesses, including my liaison with the Charlottesville Police Department and the police chief's own assistant, Emily Lance, who overheard the police chief saying, "Let them fight." Not only that, the police chief destroyed various text messages and emails and actually created new documents with phony checklists and backdated them to make it seem like created these documents prior to the rally.
If he'd been doing his job, there would have been no way there could have been fighting, right? You would have been separated.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, in 2017, run up to the Unite the Right rally, there were a lot of outbreaks of police standing down. You saw that in Berkeley, where Antifa were using IEDs and improvised explosives, beating people with canes, hitting people with bricks, rocks, setting UC Berkeley campuses on fire. It was just a terrible situation, but had no idea that Charlottesville would do that. Who knows what was in the minds of the Charlottesville government officials, but they were holding closed-door meetings, which may not have even been legal under Virginia law. They were hiring expensive law firms, some of which are suing us now, and trying to say, where is the wiggle room? How can we get this event canceled?
So they were desperate to use whatever possible means was at hand to shut you up.
Yes. You had very influential people in Charlottesville, like a good friend of the Charlottesville mayor, Mike Signer. After the rally took place, she is the one who brought in Roberta Kaplan, who is the head attorney suing the Unite the Right protesters now. She introduced her to all of the plaintiffs. So you have like these very connected left-wing activists and influential people who were conspiring basically to screw us up over however possible, whether that was telling the police not to protect us, telling the government to shut down the permit. And after things went wrong because of their meddling, then to blame us in a court of law.
Tell us about the thinking behind that lawsuit and how it's been proceeding so far.
So basically, it's using civil conspiracy claims, which are very different than criminal conspiracy claims, which require a very high bar of evidence. In civil court, it's a very low bar of evidence. And with the civil claims, it can be very nebulous. It's very easy to claim, and it can get you to a trial, believe it or not. They're saying that the rally was just a pretext to violently attack counter-protesters, specifically racial minorities. But yet they have no evidence of that. They say that we conspired with James Fields, the individual who drove his car into the crowd of people, and yet there's no evidence of that. They've gone through all of our text messages, all of our emails, all of our social media. There's no evidence of that.
This is quite incredible. But that, suppose, from an emotional, psychological point of view, that's the centerpiece of their case.
Yes.
Is Heather Heyer is dead. And these bad people with Jason Kessler, number one, conspired to make things like that happen.
And they are trying to exploit this situation to attack a political faction.